What is up, everybody, and welcome to Peaches and Power Bombs. I am one of your hosts, Majestic Marie, and we also have Alora. We are together again, this twice in a row. This seems like we're on a winning streak here because usually it seems like for the past couple months you've been able to show up and I couldn't, and then I'm here and then you're not, and then it's been just
I
a bunch of
know.
chaos. So we're happy to be together, and we are especially happy to have our special guest, Mr. Tim Sherry, here with us today. How are you doing?
Special. Ooh, I was not special is a good word for me, I'd say. And before we get going, I do have to apologize for my get up tonight. There's some issue going on with like the heat in my apartment. So if you have it off, it's like 50, but if you have it on, it's like 80. So I figured I'd have it on and just not wear too much clothing. So I apologize. You're probably going to see some sweat glistening here, but they're coming to fix it tomorrow. So just wanted to throw that out there so nobody thinks I'm trying to be a tough guy here in my tank top.
No
Okay.
problem. No problem. So let's go ahead and get down to business. Everybody, if you are watching this, make sure you do all the things: like, share, subscribe to Peaches and Power Bombs. Tell your friends about us. We're just two Southern girls who like to talk about wrestling, and we like to have our friends on with us to join us. So make sure you do all of that, and let's get Brock to get us ready for the show.
Let's do this!
One of our friends has already joined us, Christine. Good to see you as well. She's one of our regulars here on the show. And as always, we're glad to have Tim on with us, friend of the page.
Hell yeah.
Always like to get him on and have a good time.
And before we talk about the actual content and wrestling and storylines and all that kind of stuff, we do have a little bit of news. Most of it is on the AEW side of things. I know it's a little bit old because I think it broke like last week or whatever, but we just didn't have time to get around to it with our panel last week. But QT Marshall has decided to leave AEW. And I know on screen his stuff wasn't nearly that good, but he did have a lot of responsibilities on the backstage of the thing. He was in charge of a lot of the training and things like that. And I think I also read that he was the person that most of the talent went to talk if they could not go to Tony Khan. So he had his hands in everything. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that he's gone, but as far as just regulation, I guess they'll just have to refigure stuff out. So, what do you guys think of this?
Yeah, it's sad to see him go, but I think the split was amicable, to say the least. Judging from his social media posts, he let everybody know that his time in AEW was up. He thanked AEW for everything, and it'll be really interesting to see where he goes next. Is there any indication of where he might go, or is he taking a break? I can't recall if he said. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the sky's the limit for somebody like QT Marshall, who obviously has a lot of experience and everything. So, and very various things, I should say. And, we wish him the best. Whatever he does, I'm sure he'll be great at it.
I'll say, for there's plenty of people I have bad things to say about in AEW, but QT Marshall is not one of them. I mean, I was never a massive fan. I think his in-ring work it's okay. It's fine. He's a pro. He's been doing it a long time. I think, from what you guys mentioned, I think his future definitely, I don't see his future in the ring. I think he's got a good mind for the business. I think he's a good trainer. He's the head trainer at the Monster
Nightmare
Factory.
Right?
Nightmare Factory, excuse me. Trained Damian Priest and, quite a few others. So he's a talented trainer. He's got a good mind for the business. I think he'll be okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
Kind of staying with the AEW line, this is actually recent. AEW let go their post-production manager, Kevin Sullivan, not the wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it was yesterday or today. I can't remember which, but it's been pretty recent. So it looks like a lot of their like backstage positions are just being new faces coming in and old faces leaving. That there's something going on there that they're trying to shift either into a different direction or something. Something's going on in AEW.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, I think they probably could cut not only their production team, but like half of their roster as well. They're so over. They have so many people. I mean, if you actually go on the wiki page of like look up list of AEW personnel, it is outrageous. There are so many people. So maybe they're finally starting to think about budgets, like most businesses who aren't run by billionaires do. So I think at some point they had to make that decision to start cutting some of the fat. And, I don't know if there's people just sitting around getting a paycheck, not doing anything. That could be part of it. That's speculation. I don't know. But I think, these are business decisions that have to be made, we're all these years into AEW. At some point they gotta start doing stuff like this. So not surprised.
Yeah.
Speaking of, those that are, not really doing a whole lot. Both Matt and Jeff Hardy has voiced their displeasure with how things are going as far as they go. Jeff, I can understand why it is. Had a relapse, and you got to think too at this point with him is that okay, can we trust you to run with the program or whatever, and your personal decisions doesn't screw it up. Yeah. So I see how it is with Jeff, but Matt, I'm not sure. I didn't listen to the podcast. I just saw the a quick read article about it, and I hate it for him, but at the same time, I think Jeff's relapse had a lot to do with it, but then again, I don't know. Might be something else going on we don't know about.
I think they had a really big opportunity when Jeff first came into AEW, and he came out and saved Matt from doing something. I don't remember what it was exactly, but he was supposed to come in and do the save. And I think they were going to set something up with the Young Bucks. And then it just kind of fell apart. And they could have really done something there, because although they did that in Ring of Honor, the Hardys versus the Young Bucks, it's never been shown on actual, live cable television. So that would have been something that they could have done. And they could have also used them to bring up other younger tag teams and everything. And they decided not to do that. And it just kind of fell to the wayside. And now it's almost like, well, where do you put the Hardys? Because they've just squandered like a year of being able to use them in any sort of way. And when they are using them, they're beating them really badly. And they're almost not losing their credibility because they are a legendary tag team, but just kind of making them look like, oh, well, anybody can beat them now. So it's just been, I don't think that they've been handled the way that they could have handled them and made some money off of it.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, like, no matter how old they are and the miles they have on them, Matt and Jeff are still names in the business.
Right.
You could have made some money with these guys. I think the problem was especially when they brought Jeff in, they just oversaturated like every minute the Hardys were on the screen. They should have made it special. Like they're not going to work any shows until the big show, and that's going to be the Hardys are going to take it. I actually quite like that match against the Bucks, surprisingly. But I think that's one of the main problems with the booking all the time. It's just like it's too much. Make the fans kind of want it more, which they never did that with the Hardys. And when you have two big names like that, we're talking guys who were pretty big stars. I think they made a big mistake with them. Also, if I was Matt Hardy, I'd be more concerned about the fact that AEW almost killed him like 5 or 6 times a couple of years ago.
For real.
I mean, the table spot, what was it, Sammy Guevara?
Yeah.
It was a Sammy
Off
that
the ladder. Yeah.
Was it Sammy that threw the chair at him the wrong way as well and busted his face open?
It might have been. It was either Sammy or it was Jungle Boy. I can't remember which one it was.
Sammy. He threw the chair. He was supposed to throw the open side at him. He threw the closed side at him, and then I think Orange Cassidy broke his nose at one point when he maybe take a break from it all and then come back, take some time off, go learn a new move, and come back in like 6 months and try it again. I think that's really all they can do at this point with the Hardys, unfortunately.
And two, I was gonna say this, with I keep wanting to say Edge because we've been saying it for 25 years, but
he's Edge.
Yeah, Edge and Christian, they're having their little feud right now, but I do think down the line they are going to have one more run as the legendary tag team that we all know and love, and they might have one more run with the Hardys.
That would be something.
Yeah,
that would be something. I'd buy that show. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, heck
I don't care how old they are for that. Absolutely.
I mean, they all still got it. Hell, Christian's doing the best work of his career.
I couldn't agree more.
And so hopefully they'll hold out for that. And two, I will mention this, being that we're kind of on the subject. Dr. Britt Baker, the MD, she has also voiced her displeasure about TV time. So I think it's something Marie and I touched on before. I think there's just it can't just be one person doing it all. You got to have other people that, hey, we're going to have you be in charge of Ring of Honor. I'll have you be in charge of the tag division, see what we can come up with that, or the women's division. At least that's what I would think. But then again, I don't know. So but that would be the idea that I'm getting for the displeasure post on social media and stuff. Is like there needs to be some kind of order, so to speak.
Yeah, the problem has been partly that Tony is kind of trying to run everything by himself, and he's probably not delegating all that much. But there is another.
That's not partly. That is the problem.
Well, there's a little bit too. There is a little bit too that he does have producers over his segments and over his shows, and the talent are not listening to them.
Yeah, well, that's a problem. That's a big problem. You need to get guys that they'll listen to. Get some veterans around. I mean, I don't know. Call me crazy.
Timothy is here. He says, good evening. Hope y'all are doing well. And he says Christian Cage is the father of the year.
Yes.
It is like a creepy father figure thing. I love it. Every time I see the turtleneck, I lose it.
Yeah.
One of the only reasons I'm still hanging on is this guy. He's so good. And see, the thing is, they're exactly what I said about the Hardys. What they're doing with Christian is he's not wrestling every week.
No,
he's wrestling when it's important to wrestle. That's what you do with a big star like that, especially one at his age. Had they taken that approach with the Hardys, they might be doing well right now, but they're not. They've booked Christian really, really well. I've been impressed with that.
I agree.
Well, that's a good segue into talking about AEW and what they're doing right and what they're not doing right.
Hold that thought. Speaking of naughty list, you might want to get your favorite sound bite ready.
Oh.
Oh no. Oh no.
Fight me! Fight me! Fight me! Fight me! Fight me! Don't fight me! Fight me! Fight me! Fight me! Fight me! Fight me! Don't fight me!
we had to do it twice tonight.
How rude.
Exactly.
I tell you what, Saturday evening, I'm already disappointed about my Georgia Bulldogs losing to stupid Alabama.
He had a bad night.
And then I'm like, oh, okay. Well, Eddie's already got one loss, surely because he is a Ring of Honor world champion and he put both of his titles on the line for this stupid tournament. Surely he's going to win this one. Plus, there is a little history with Bryan Danielson in this thing. He's already lost to him in a tournament 2 years ago. So this would be a good for, him coming back up. I'm a different person. I'm the Ring of Honor World Champion. I'm actually somebody now, so I can beat you. No, they couldn't do that. And it made me so mad. It made me so mad. And I know somebody in the comments is going to say, oh, comeback story, they're going to have him up against the ropes. And maybe that's true, but
when you think about it, though, if that is the case and that's what they're doing, that is the best way to book Eddie Kingston just in general. Even just with his matches, he's the type of guy that you can really get behind, especially because he can take such a beating in the ring. And he's not a flashy guy. So he's one of these guys that can take a beating and keep coming back and keep coming back and coming back. That's what inspires fans to like him. I know it's probably one of the things you like about him as well. But I think, it's kind of maybe that's the long haul idea. To have him get beat all the way down and then come back. That'd be okay. It's a metaphor for how he wrestles. So,
if he loses, he's facing Claudio next, and so they could play into this thing with it's the be all end all again with Claudio, and so they could play around with that, and then I think it would be really cool if it was Eddie and Moxley as the finals in this thing, but just because there's story there, not necessarily because it'd be fantastic or anything, but there's story there and it would make more sense. But we'll see how it goes.
Is anybody else surprised that Brody King has won 2 in a row? This guy I felt was like left for dead a little while ago, and now suddenly they're giving him like a little push in this tournament.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I don't have any problems per se with Brody King. He can work for a big guy. He's physically imposing. But I was really surprised. Did he beat Danielson? Was that the other one? Because I missed that one.
No, he beat
Claudio. No,
Claudio. Was it?
Okay.
Yeah, the two people that have really shown in this this tournament that you didn't expect to, because Moxley's undefeated, but you expect that because they're all up his rear end right now.
That is true.
And I get it. He's a name that people recognize, so I understand that. But it's really cool to see somebody like Brody King and like Swerve Strickland also start to really look like something. So I know you probably didn't like that that match that him and Hangman Page had on Full Gear.
How did you guess?
I can guess.
Oh, you know me so well. How adorable. No, I'm not a fan. But I like Swerve a lot. I'm a big fan. Yeah. Happy he's getting something right now, finally.
I loved and hated it all at the same time.
It was preposterous.
I think so too, yeah.
The whole thing was preposterous. But, hey, listen, the diehards loved it. Your buddy Meltzer, huge fan of it. Well, no, he said he hated it, but he still gave it 5 stars. Apparently,
Meltzer is not my buddy.
According to Dave Meltzer, apparently that match is the same rating as Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat from Wrestle War 89. Apparently that's the same. That's a 5-star in his book. It's outrageous.
I will say it lived up to the deathmatch type of thing. I'm just glad Swerve won. Mm-hmm. I think the right guy won for sure.
That's right. I couldn't agree more.
And at least this, AEW has a bad habit of just jumping right to blood, gore, whatever. Yes. Mm-hmm. At least this one had story and reasoning behind the blood and the gore. So, that give them a little bit of credit. Just a little bit.
Fine.
About that much.
Fine. I'll give him that much for effort. How's that?
I mean, if I had a child and some dude just broke in.
But it's just one of these things that drives me crazy. Like, how would a cameraman know to be there? You know what I mean? Like, it's just stuff like that. It makes no sense to me.
Well, in that part of it, it's cinematic. It's not.
But why can't it just be a personal issue between two dudes? That was the foundation of wrestling for like 50 years, and it worked. Now we gotta like break it. And I'm not saying, look, WWE has done a lot of that stuff
Oh
too.
yeah,
Go back to the Brian Pillman with the gun. Orton and Triple H did it to each other.
Yep,
I'm
I was
not
just
saying.
about to say.
I'm not saying one is better. They both do outrageous, preposterous things like that. But I just wish those things are so dramatic. I just wish it was just more personal. I think people get behind that more.
Speaking of praises for Swerve, Timothy says, "How about Swerve versus Jay White last week?" I heard about this. I haven't been able to watch anything lately. I'm behind on my DirecTV bill, so it's off. So, anyways, yeah, I heard about this. I heard that Swerve got the victory. So yeah, they're really behind this guy, and I can't be happier.
He's real good. Looks good too. Like he's got it all. He's a little undersized. Not necessarily the end of the world in 2023, but great looking guy, good physique, can work, can do it all. He can mat wrestle. He can go to the ropes.
Oh yeah,
and he doesn't oversaturate either one. He's good. He's very, very good. I like Swerve a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There are some pros and there are some cons to this to the tournament, and unfortunately, somebody has to lose. So I just feel sorry for Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal, and Jay White does have one win, but he lost his second match. But it's just a shame because they could do something with Mark Briscoe too, and he could be a really, no one's going to boo him from this point on, so don't ever turn him heel. But he could be a really strong baby face on that roster, and I think that they have just kind of squandered that opportunity.
Massive missed opportunity with him. Massive. Love Mark Briscoe.
Yes. Like I just smile every time he comes up on the television.
He's so good. He's so good. And he's one of those guys he makes you believe. I know that's what you love about Eddie, but that's what I like about Mark. I've been following these guys for a very, very long time. And obviously not Jay anymore. Breaks my heart every time I think about it. But Mark, my God, they had a chance.
Yeah.
And I understand he ended up getting hurt, but they had a chance before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And you look at that tournament, I'm sorry, but other than Danielson, Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal, the best workers in the tournament.
Yeah.
And maybe Claudio. But they're almost being used as enhancement talent at this point.
Yeah.
And it's very frustrating because they're really, really good. There's something there for both of them. So
I think they need to get Jay Lethal away from Jeff Jarrett.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Maybe have like a little small thing with with them going up against each other for like a couple weeks, and then blow it off, and then him go on to something else.
Yeah, I mean, no offense to Jeff Jarrett, but it's not doing Jay Lethal any favors, in my opinion.
Not at all. And at the end of the day, Jeff Jarrett, he's still a name, and he can still work a bit. I think he can not only put Jay Lethal over, but I think that's a big win to beat a legend like that.
Sure.
So absolutely do that.
Well, Jeff Jarrett's got like 75 people in his corner right now, so he doesn't really need Jay Lethal.
Seriously, just like anybody would even know.
Sugar Shane is here with us. He says, I love AEW, but I'm not understanding this tournament at all. I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, I was going to say, Shane, you're not alone, buddy. You're not alone at all there.
It's because they're following the Red Robin rules of the G1, and if you're not familiar with the G1, then it's hard to follow. And the problem is that they haven't done a really good job of explaining it. Like I can follow along okay, but I watched the G1 this past year because I was rooting for Eddie, of course. So I watched it. But
this is when we need Geek on here to explain everything, because he's our New Japan guru here.
Well, and listen, this is a thing that I've been preaching for years with AEW is that like, and I see, I'm not going to name names, but a guy we used to write with at Daily DDT was just on Twitter the other day, just being like, oh, don't even worry about these people who don't understand. I'm like, listen, those are the people you need to start watching your show. The people that don't understand, because the people that already understand the G1 are the 900,000 people that watch Dynamite every week anyways. They get all that stuff. You're trying to bring in new fans. But Tony keeps just harkening back to this whole, like, he wants to be this New Japan thing, and he's only pandering to the people he already has watching his show. So I don't quite, I don't have a problem. I feel like, didn't TNA, wasn't the Bound for Glory series, wasn't that like a round robin point system type thing. I used to kind of like that. So it's not necessarily unheard of in the States, but it's just not. Look, it makes these tournaments really long and hard to follow.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And I mean, look, they actually have an entire website just set up for the tournament, so you can go to it and look. But it just, again, it's just confusing for people if you're not watching every week and you have so many shows to try to follow. How are you
Yeah.
supposed to get into this tournament if you don't know when to watch what?
Right.
I
If it's
think
hard to
that's why-
follow, then
It's so hard to follow.
I think that's why WWE just does elimination tournaments, because it's much easier. Okay, that
Yeah.
guy lost, so he's out.
Yeah.
And with this, it's like, okay, if you win, you get 3 points. If it's a draw, you get 1 point. And of course, if you lose, you don't get any. And you face each person in your bracket one time, I believe. And whoever has the most points, the 2 people with the most points in each bracket face each other.
Mhm.
And then whoever wins those 2 matches, they face each other in the finals. So it'd be like the blue bracket versus the gold bracket. And that's how they declare the winner. That's a lot of stuff to try to explain to somebody.
I already
Yeah.
can't math very well, so yeah.
And, I mean, that's the thing they've been doing. Not only the G1 in New Japan, but the best of the juniors, the Super Juniors. They do
Super
it. That's they do that style as well. So they're used to that. We're
Well,
not
and-
used to that.
No, I mean, that's what the Japanese fans gravitate towards. They like that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
that drawn out, tournament based stuff. And that's why they do those all the time, because that's what their fans are asking for. But the American / European fans aren't used to that. So they don't have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, apparently we don't have the attention spans of the Japanese fans.
I don't think we do.
Yeah, I know I don't. So.
All right, let's see what else is going on.
Timothy, can AEW stop
we'll talk
doing
about her.
Tony Storm segments? Is so terrible. I actually love her character.
So no, he's on to something though, because I liked it at first. I thought it was like, because she was kind of, I was, I'm not gonna say. I told you I'd watch my mouth, didn't I? She's a little crazy, and I like it. And at first, it really worked, and now I think it's getting a little too silly and over the top, and now it's just kind of getting almost cringy.
Well, that one little thing where they presented the title to her and stuff, that segment was bad. But then it went
Awful.
right back to her original stuff, like her little banter with Renee this past week was really funny. She was talking about Sky Blue, and she's like telling her that she should walk backwards because the only time anyone says anything nice about her is when they're taking pictures of her rear end.
She's not wrong.
No. And, she's like, you think you're spooky now because you wear that little hat. I used to wear a little hat. Watch, I can be spooky boo.
No, she is a naturally, seems like a naturally funny person. But they're overproducing it now. They're going too far with it. But I think there's still something there.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it's a total character change for her. And yeah, for the most part, she plays it well. I think that's why it's gotten over like it has.
And at least she's being interesting, unlike the rest of the women's roster is so bland, and they don't get enough time to even try to do anything either.
That's the bigger problem. They don't get enough time at all. And I will say, if there weren't so many other silly things going on in AEW, silly gimmicks and silly ideas, the Tony Storm thing might seem a little different. It wouldn't seem like another silly routine. Great. It would seem different, but it's just so much over the top silliness going on. At least
it's entertaining. I mean, I'm getting tired of Roddy Strong scream Adam and his.
I've had enough. I love Roddy, and I've had enough of that. I mean, is he okay? He almost broke his neck a few weeks ago. I wasn't
for real
watching the
this
show.
time.
Did you see with Action Andretti? He went to do that preposterous move. Well, I forget what it's called when they both flip at the same time.
Yeah.
What the hell's that? The Spanish Fly?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Standing.
Mm-hmm.
He landed right on his goddamn head. I thought he broke his neck. They'd stop the match and everything. It was horrible.
It wasn't very neck strong, was it?
No, it was horrific looking.
Shane says Britt Baker is on my naughty list. She's right about the promo time, but I think she approached it wrong. Well, I mean, if they didn't listen to her backstage, what else can you do? I don't know.
Well, I don't think Britt's done herself any favors with her in-ring work of late either. It's been shoddy at best, and I like Britt. I think she's good. She's she's got it all. She's good looking. She can work. She can cut a great promo. She's got charisma, all that stuff. But if you've seen some of her matches have not been good lately. Like really not good.
I think you can tell when she's not into it.
Sure. Yep.
That's the problem.
Yeah, she comes out with job face a lot. You know that look when you don't want to lose, just like that. She has the job face. Moxley has that a lot. He just had it versus your buddy Cassidy. Yeah, I feel bad for Britt because she is very talented, but I don't know.
All right, what's next? We talked about Christian and Adam Copeland. How do you think that they're handling Adam Copeland, Edge, whatever you want to call him, so far in AEW? Were you surprised that he went there?
Me. Yeah, sorry. No, not necessarily surprised. He wants to work more. WWE made it clear they wanted it to be more like appearance based, not work a full-time schedule, and that's what he wants. And at his age, he seems to want one last run at it. I'm sure AEW paid him a lot of money. I mean, like an outrageous amount of money. So no, I'm not surprised he went there. His best friend's there. Look, when he's working and going back and forth on the stuff with Christian, it's great. I don't know. I'm very up in the air with it right now because he's literally Edge. Edge is one of my favorite, if not my favorite wrestler of all time. And so I don't know. I'm the verdict is still out. I will get back to you on that one because I'm not 100% sure yet.
I think there's been good segments and then there's been bad segments and things that just haven't made much sense. Why is Nick Wayne's mom running from the back? She's not she's not employed by them. Why is she back there? It would have been okay if she came from the barricade, right? But she ran from the tunnel, and
why is she coming out anyways?
Well, for real.
Well, with all that being said,
Edge just bashes Nick's brains out in front of her. He comes out to help her, but then she's like, "I don't care about you anymore."
Yeah, I don't get it. None of it makes sense.
Okay.
Well, the good thing in all of this is how massive is this from Nick Wayne working with Edge, Christian, Sting? I mean, that's kind of mind-boggling for anybody, especially someone that's really young like he is, just getting started.
Yeah, I know a lot of people give him a lot of flack, but I try to give him some grace because he is only 18 years old and he's kind of in this role that's a little bit more than what he is right now. And I think that I think they placed him in this position way too soon. I think they should have given him some training and some time maybe on Ring of Honor first or something like that. Instead of okay, well, you're 18 now, so here you go. Be in the ring with Sting. Be in the ring with, Edge and Christian, and which he's surrounded by good company who's gonna, teach him right, like Christian, but it's still a lot of responsibility for someone so young.
But how are you not going to get in his position? How are you not going to get swallowed up? You're not gonna. No one's gonna see you when you're.
And his boo-boo face is not convincing.
No, he is 5 years away from being anything. I don't. Some of these transactions boggle my mind. Nick Wayne's one of them. Good God.
Timothy says Swerve is on the nice list for the promos in wrestling. That's been really amazing. Yeah, see,
so good. Who's next?
All right.
I want to bash. Come on, I want to bash somebody. I feel good.
You want to bash somebody? Okay. Well, we can talk about MJF, talking about oversaturation, and MJF is all over the show, and part of me understands why, and part of me is like, okay, this is way too much MJF. Give another guy, 5 minutes or whatever. But are you even interested in who the devil is now, Tim?
No, have they not? I gave up a little while ago. I mean, are they going to say it? Is it Dolph Ziggler? Who is it? Can we just? I don't I don't care anymore because it's been so long.
They're
And
supposed to have a tag team match this Wednesday night. Him, MJF and Joe versus 2 of the Devil guys, and I'm guessing the revelation will be during this. I hope so anyway.
I'm so frustrated because MJF, like for me, was basically the reason I would even watch the show. And I think that Tony Khan kind of realized that, and he's like, "Oh, I guess we'll just put him on for the entire show."
Right.
And now, like, how can you take a guy this talented and kill his momentum? That's almost impossible to do, and Tony Khan did it.
I think he panicked because he was like, "Oh no, CM Punk is gone, and MJF is the only star I have."
Yeah.
Here you go, MJF.
Well, Jesus Christ, I have an idea. Why don't you try to actually manufacture some new stars? Why don't you give some guys a chance? Why don't you just stop just focusing on these few stars that you already have and actually try to engineer a couple new ones? It's not a crazy strategy.
I think they're slowly starting to do that with Swerve Strickland and maybe 1 or 2 others. But other than that,
Well, he better step on the gas pedal because like this is not a situation to have a slow burn.
No,
they're struggling, and MJF is way too much. I'm actually like sometimes when I see him come back on the screen, I groan. Like, no, not again, please. I don't want this guy to get like they're killing him. And
now,
I don't want that.
Literally, yes. And physically too. Because he's wrestling way too much.
Yeah.
And he's hurt right now, but he's working through it. And I'm like, y'all are going to kill him.
It's his hip, right? Was that what I heard? His hip.
His hip, and he pulled something in his shoulder.
His shoulder too. Lovely, lovely. Oh my God.
Shane says there are so many theories about who is the devil. Let me add a new one. Will Offspring? Why not?
Well,
I mean, if they waited this long,
yeah. I don't think. I wouldn't be against it. I don't think that's going to be it. Only because I think it's going to be someone that has not been shown in AEW yet. It's going to be somebody completely different. I don't. Ospreay's already wrestled for them. It was a pretty high profile signing.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Not against it, but I don't think it's going to be the case.
At this point, I'm just like anybody but Jungle Boy. I don't even care if it's, you know.
That's the kiss of death right there. I mean, come on, Jungle Boy.
I don't care if it's Dalton Castle as long as it's not it's not Jack Perry.
I mean, who else? What are the fan theories? Again, I heard
Adam Cole is the biggest one.
That makes no sense.
He's playing MJF.
No, that is okay.
There's Wardlow.
I think
that makes sense.
Yeah, they're saying he's definitely one of the masked men. Somebody had posted a picture on Facebook last week. I guess his hair was like all crazy.
Oh,
and,
Christ.
And I guess the segment or 2 before was the masked man, and they're like, okay, that's a good that's pretty bad way to reveal who one of the masked men is. His hair was just all over the place. It was funny, but for Wardlow, somebody like Wardlow, that's good for him because they pissed on him time.
Oh
and time
my
again.
God, Jesus, yeah, because that kid's got something.
Yeah,
right? I mean, size, look, can work, can talk. I mean, remember how hot he was? I mean, he squashed MJF on a pay-per-view. I mean, it's as hot as it gets.
I was there that night that he turned on MJF in that dog collar match.
Yeah,
that place erupted.
Roof flew off. Like, I mean, that was wild. And again, I'm not trying to be rude or mean, but like what? 2 weeks after he wins his first title, they make him go 20 minutes with Orange Cassidy, a guy who in reality, if that was in a reality fist fight, that wouldn't have lasted more than 45 seconds. And you almost lose to Orange Cassidy after squashing MJF. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, it makes no sense.
It's kind of like
killed the momentum.
It's kind of like, it's kind of like one of those things where, they think about Wardlow and they're stuck on stupid.
Yeah, you're right. All
right. Christine said, "Go ahead, Marie."
that program with him and Powerhouse Hobbs just made both of them look so bad. It was
And Hobbs is
awful.
another guy. Hobbs is another star. The stars are there. He's just not using them.
He's
Like-
with Don
Frustrating.
Callis and the Don Callis family right now.
Oh, Christ.
Is better than with QT Marshall. I'll give them that.
How about just nobody?
But
just let him wrestle. Let him be. He doesn't need
he's
anybody.
kind of
Look at him.
stagnant right now because Jericho is off in Vietnam doing some documentary work, and I think
Tell him
he
to
was
stay.
also doing some touring with his band and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, we're gonna pause you, Powerhouse Hobbs, and just have you stand there until he comes back. And I'm like, he could be throwing some people around. I mean, come on.
Yeah, build him up. Build him
Like
up.
Orange Cassidy.
But yes, yeah. Build him up.
Christine says, Dolph, I didn't think about him. I still think it's either Jungle Boy or Britt talking about the devil.
Oh yeah, Britt Baker is another
Oh,
theory.
God.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I would be actually shocked if they pulled that off. But let's see. Swerve is not a slime ball. Stravy, another friend of our page of the page. She says hello.
He was at Collision Saturday night, and he sent me a message like, "This is BS. Everybody's booing."
Warlord's a beast. He needs more exposure.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree
Yep.
more.
Timothy says maybe it's Wardlow with FTR and Sean Spears.
Oh,
Sean
the
Spears?
Pinnacle.
That would be a good surprise.
Fine,
We ain't seen
fine.
him in a long time.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, booking is ridiculous. Shiny new toy syndrome. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Absolutely
Shiny
right.
new toy.
True. All true.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
He says, wouldn't call Hobbs a star. Just saw him live on Saturday. He's not that great in my
I mean,
opinion.
Well, I'll tell you. And again, there's a lot of booking issues with Hobbs. But if you just take him on paper, if you take his size, his look, his work, he's got that big winning smile. He's got the charisma. He looks like a badass. He's got the frame for it. In general, he's got the frame. You just got to book him right, and you have a star. I think so.
Yeah.
He needs to do his own thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Stravy, please don't jinx it.
No. No.
Please don't jinx it.
I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him at this point. I really wouldn't.
It's me! It's me all along! No! Don't do that!
Yeah, you just might as well close the company.
I hate you.
Shut it down.
I hate the air that you breathe. I hate the fact that you're even living. You make me sick.
Don't put that idea in their heads. They'll do it.
So good.
At this very
I'm joking,
moment,
Strong.
you're
I'm
kinda
joking.
hoping. At this very moment, you're kind of hoping somebody from there is not watching.
Yeah, right.
Hey, TK, I have a great idea. No.
Yeah.
Don't.
That's good.
Man.
That was really good.
I would take I would take Jack Perry over that. And
Right?
there's
Yeah.
something.
At one point, we were thinking Kyle O'Reilly could be the devil too.
Oh,
that
I
would
love
be
that.
awesome.
That would
It
be
doesn't-
awesome.
O'Reilly.
I love Kyle O'Reilly. God, I miss him.
I miss him too.
Oh, yeah. I could live with that. That would be good.
Not
Bad
Tony
injury
Khan.
though. He had a really bad injury.
Mhm.
Really.
It's been almost a year, if not a year. So
They were
we'll
questioning
see.
whether he was ever going to wrestle again. I think
Yeah.
they say he will, but it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, I
for
think
real?
that if you want to have a hell of a comeback, that would be the way to do it for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle O'Reilly's legit badass. So I mean,
Yeah.
it wouldn't like be a dud for sure.
Hell, put the belt on him, right? And then you can let MJF take a break and heal. I mean, I would be totally fine with that. O'Reilly? Oof.
Yeah, I think that they should put the title on Samoa Joe.
Yes.
He's
Well, they're
they're
working,
wrestling,
right?
yeah, they're wrestling at World's End. So put the title on on MJF, have the, Kyle O'Reilly or whoever is the devil guy come out and lay him flat and let him go heel for about two months and have him come back at Revolution.
Yeah, I have no problem. I love Samoa Joe. Legit
You mean
badass.
Samoa
though.
Joe? You said MJF.
Samoa Joe, legit badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, put the strap on. I have no problem with that at all. Would he
Joe,
be? Whoa,
go ahead.
hold on. Would he be the first person to ever have? Well, he was NXT champion, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Damn it. Because then he was TNA champion. He was Ring of Honor champion. Interesting. Anyway, sorry, the spitball in there.
No problem.
Yeah, Joe's always been that team player, hey, I'll step in, I'll do whatever, and the guy could work, and he's he's got promo skills. I mean, he has it all. Why not? Let it, like you said, let MJF heal. Just Samoa Joe, somebody you could depend on. Hopefully he's not as injury prone now as he was in WWE, but he seems to be doing fine this time around.
I thought Samoa Joe was washed about 18 months ago. Like, I thought like he was done. But listen, I think a lot of times when you come back, when you've worked for the WWE for a long time and you're under such scrutiny constantly, and then you go to AEW and you have a little more freedom, I think it might give you a little vigor, a little renewed life. And I think that's good because he looks to be in better shape than he's been in a long time. I mean, he was never like a muscle guy. He was always, just the way he looks. But his cardio looks great. And
yeah.
You remember when he came back to NXT and wrestled Karrion Kross, he beat him for the belt in like 10 minutes. He was blown up in 10 minutes. He looked like he couldn't breathe by the end of that match. So, he's gotten in shape. I think, I think he's earned it.
Yeah.
Stravy says with Kyle O'Reilly, it does fit the Adam and Roddy story. Undisputed Era. Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
I know Ricky Starks is with Big Bill, but I like to see Big Bill team with Lance Archer. That actually would be a good team. Ricky needs to be a singles wrestler. That's another star that's just waiting to be pushed into the stratosphere.
Absolutely.
I love Ricky Starks. Stravy wants to know if he could chime in.
So I've been pleasantly surprised with Big Bill. I was not a fan of him in the WWE. Well, probably because he was with Enzo, who's an idiot. He's a moron, and he's terrible. And he got a bit of that stink on him, But man, he looks good, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He reminds his look and physique reminds me of like a prime Kevin Nash, like just jacked up, and I mean. How many 7 feet tall dudes are jacked up like that, and looks good. He's athletic for a big guy. I've been pleasantly surprised by him.
Yeah.
Timothy says just maybe what happened if the devil was Swerve Strickland. I think so, but
he doesn't need to be.
It took the words out of my mouth. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. I mean, his push is actually going quite well. Just keep going. Keep having him win.
Yeah.
What a weird concept, having people win wrestling matches
to get over. Oh my.
What a crazy idea. I mean, they've only been making that work since 1950.
I thought you're supposed to beat them and beat them and beat them and beat them and beat them.
Yeah, right. So you have sympathy.
To guys who are like 150 pounds smaller than them.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand why they do want Orange Cassidy a little bit on their programming because kids like him.
Yeah,
they always dress up like him at the shows and everything. Sure. But my goodness, they should not be beating he should not be beating 270-pound muscle dudes. I'm sorry.
He just beat I'm not a Moxley guy. But in what stratosphere does Orange Cassidy win a fight against Jon Moxley? Just look at the two of them. If you never watched professional wrestling in your life and you saw the two of them and they get in the ring, you're like, oh, this little dude in the jeans is going to get the hell kicked out of him. And then he wins? Like, what are you... Sorry.
It's almost like, who did Mox piss off?
I know. At this point, who hasn't he at this point? But okay, I'm not going to go down the Orange Cassidy road again because I'm just going to get upset. and I don't want to get upset.
Okay. Well, we're going to shift gears a little bit and go to the other company for a little while to close out.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only person who has noticed this, but a couple years ago, WWE had a really bad habit of not really building up their people. It was like Roman,
Brock,
John Cena, that's it.
Orton.
Randy Orton. And now there's like so many people. You have Jey Uso, you have Cody Rhodes, you have Seth Rollins, you have Sami Zayn, you have LA Knight, you have Roman Reigns, you have the Judgment Day, you have Drew McIntyre. Gunther is waiting in the wings, waiting to be brought up to that level. And then you also have CM Punk and Orton.
You have a dozen guys you can put in your main event.
Right.
Literally a dozen guys.
Hi, Strav. Welcome to the show.
Hello. How y'all doing?
Doing
This was
good.
a dope conversation, so I was like, I have to chime in. This was fire.
Okay, well, we're gonna put this on hold for just a second. Since you were at Collision on Saturday night, tell us what you
Right.
thought of the show there live.
All right, so I'm from Erie, PA, and we don't really get big shows. We get live shows only, especially like, since WWE was the only thing for a while. So no pyro, no fireworks, no light shows, and Collision brought us that. So I'm like,
That's
okay,
nice.
you're right. That's a plus, fireworks. I'm like, oh, and everybody in there was like, no, they're not going to do it. I don't think our building is equipped for it. And I'm like, watch, look at the stage, guys. And when it happened, they're like, okay. But I was overall impressed. Kind of sucks that it was Collision and not a Rampage or Dynamite, because like whole time I'm like amping everybody around me up, like, oh yeah, AEW, and they're like, wait, but it's not WWE. I had to tell like 4 kids John Cena wasn't coming. They kept asking, "Mommy, where's John Cena?" And it was so sad. I'm like, you should have told him, like, but
You Grinch.
no, I was like, I'm sorry, guys. He's not. This isn't. But overall, I like I said, it was a dope experience, and I just love wrestling. So, but I was pissed off and everyone was pissed off Eddie Kingston lost.
Sounds like
I
you
never
guys
heard
are my
Daniel Bryan
people.
get booed so much, and like the crowd noise stuff is not just for WWE. Like
Yeah.
when I went home and watched, I was like, that's not what was happening.
Yeah.
During Claudio and Brody King's match.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, the crowd's going crazy. I'm like, no, they're not. They're not, though. Not at all. It's very, but and it was like the way that the match ended. I didn't know Brody King's finisher was just a lariat, and it was just like so sloppily done, and everybody was like, oh, okay, that's the end. But like the Eddie Kingston thing, I never heard so many people go against Daniel Bryan. Like when he came out, they did the yes chants because Erie's like not one of those towns. They don't know technically, but during the match, as the match is progressing, they're hearing everybody else, and they're like, "Oh wait, that's who we cheering for Eddie now." Yeah, because Eddie's like us. He's
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like he's literally like us. So
People
He's
strike,
a
baby.
representation in that ring.
yes, yeah, and he was rocking. Like he did his thing on Saturday, man. I thought he was
Yeah,
gonna
he
win.
did.
Especially with the promo before, like, oh, I need this win. I'm like, oh, naturally they're gonna give him this win, not thinking like, oh no, they're gonna WWE it with, oh, Daniel Bryan just coming back from injury. Let's just give him a win. Like, that's why when y'all were talking about booking, I'm like, please let me on. Please let me on, because it's just, and it's not. I love all wrestling. We grew up. I feel like all around the same time. So like WCW was popping, WWF was popping. So it wasn't. We love wrestling. Yeah, we had our favorites in the companies, but I love it overall. So it's just like, okay, so I like the tournament, but no stories. There's not a story at all in place here.
And there
I
could
saw-
be. There
Right,
could
the
be.
girl match. The girl match was what's her name? The scary one.
Abaddon.
Abaddon
Oh
versus
God.
the little red girl. Whatever. Like, bro, I'm like, why are they fighting? And then Julia Hart comes out. Okay, what's happening? Why
I
do
think
they
they're
not like
trying
each
to.
other?
They're trying to set up because Julia just ended her beef with Chris Statlander, so they're trying to
Right.
set up her next thing, and that's with Abaddon, I guess.
And I will say, as far as that goes, that Julia Hart was the right person to win that title.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. For sure. She been there for so long and been putting her time in and like just waiting. It's so many people that deserve opportunities there that are just not getting them because of who Tony Khan is.
Yeah.
And
I think
it's
I read
like,
something real quick before we move on.
go ahead.
I think I read something that they said that AEW's roster is so large that I think 50% of the roster would not be able to have any time on the 5 hours
That's crazy.
that they have on television.
Wait, can I say one thing about the tournament before we do move on? And
Sure.
it was something that because it's an important point, and it drives me. This is something that drives me crazy that Tony Khan does. That he doesn't think about the repercussions of the things that fly out of his mouth. Do you remember he said one of the things about the tournament was that there would not be any outside interference; it would just be wrestling.
Yes.
I'm just like, hold on a second. So you've been able to stop outside interference this whole time, and you just chose not to?
No.
So no.
Question.
So you're telling us that it's all predetermined. There's nugget, just stop letting us behind the curtain, dude.
Yes.
Just don't do it. You don't have to say it. Just don't
Not
do
even.
it.
Okay, but enforce the
Ridiculous.
rule. Let's enforce the rule.
Right. So
right?
you're only going to enforce it for the
Because-
tournament? Like,
Not even Saturday, right? Daddy Magic. Why is Daddy Magic out there during Andrade and Daniel Garcia's match? When we know Daddy Magic and Daniel Garcia are a team, but oh no, he's not out there. He's on commentary, but he's still out there as a distraction. What?
I understand that take, but I will say
police
this.
it. Apparently you can police it. He just chose not to this whole time.
Yep.
He was entertaining on commentary. I'll give him that. But
Daddy
I understand.
Daddy was. He's very entertaining.
Jesus.
But yes, it didn't make any sense that he was out there. It was like, oh, wait a minute.
Right, all day. He says Adam Cole is king, Orange is terrible. Who do you think is the devil? We've already talked about that a few minutes ago, right? But people, various people that commented, it's anywhere from Dolph to Britt Baker. So,
yeah. Oh yeah, it's a wide spectrum here. Apparently,
believe it or not, some people are still pulling out for CM Punk, and I'm just like, you poor thing.
That ship sailed.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Poor thing.
You just gotta let it go.
Like, no, it's possible. They're working together now.
Yeah,
it's
all
Tony
big
Khan
ruse.
and Nick Khan. See, they're related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Geniuses.
Nice segue to WWE. Did y'all
Yes.
hear that WWE will not be making any more DVDs? That and Blu-rays. It's the end of the era. I was kind of sad, even though I haven't bought a DVD in years. It was
I
still
didn't know
sad.
That is sad.
Yeah, they announced that today. That was like the first thing I saw when I got off work. I was like, oh,
So
man.
we're literally jumping into a new age of life. That sucks. Like, that sucks so bad.
Screaming.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I got to college. Again, that's eons ago. But I remember, DVDs were kind of new at that point when I got to college.
Mhm.
And I remember I didn't even care. On my first day of college, I had a whole bag with all my wrestling DVDs. I put them right up on the shelf. To my roommate, I'm like, we're watching these, just so you know.
Yeah.
And then,
just so you know.
2 weeks in, I have a full room of people watching wrestling DVDs. Like, everyone loves it. Come on.
And I hate it because I'm jaded against streaming services because a couple of them have created their own shows, put them on their platform, Disney, and then they just remove them. And because it was their property, it's no longer available to watch at all.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm very jaded, and I like to have a physical copy of stuff in case that happens. And I'm like, no one is touching my DVDs.
For real, I feel that.
Yeah, Tubi's bad about that too. They'll rotate stuff, and I like it makes movie night for me and the Mister kind of difficult because he's like, I want to watch this. I'm like, no, I want to watch this because they're going to put this. They're going to get rid of this.
You're
in
gonna take it away, yeah.
They're going to pick your poison, you know.
Like, let's finish it now, because if not, it's gonna be gone tomorrow.
Yep. So we were segging into WWE and talking about how we really haven't seen them have so many main event guys at the same time, probably since we were young. Like, I
Yes.
mean, you know, we used to have The Rock and Stone Cold, Triple H, Mick Foley, Kane, Undertaker, Kurt Angle, all at the same time, and we're
Love it.
finally getting something like that back. And I absolutely love that they're building everyone up at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
I mean, how are they gonna like? What can you imagine? What the WrestleMania card is gonna look like? I can't even begin to wrap my head around it. Like, who goes with who? How do you match it? Like, who's in the what? I have no. That's not a subject I would want to have to go into work and try to figure out, because that's
Nope.
brutal. And
Not
get
at
it
all.
right. That's like solving a Rubik's cube, getting that thing right. And I mean, that's gonna be that. This might be the most stacked WrestleMania of all time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna
Thank
be
God
wild.
it's 2 nights.
I
Thank
know,
God
right?
they're giving us
Oh,
2
God,
nights.
they better
Hey,
be. Yeah.
hey, the pandemic was good for something, because ever since then, that's when they started doing the 2 nights. And I really think that works a lot better, because
Yeah.
let me tell you, I've been to 3 WrestleManias, and that is a full day, and you're
Exhausted, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
That's why I said
Yeah.
I can't take a kid to WrestleMania. That's not a thing. I'll take them to
No.
live events and SmackDown Raw, but never WrestleMania.
A
No.
kid wouldn't make it through.
Nope.
Kid would not
No.
make, I
Oh,
mean, they'd be
no.
asleep by the 3rd match.
The
I
only
bet.
thing I ask for WrestleMania is Brock versus Gunther. That's the only thing
Yes.
I'm asking for.
That has to happen, yes.
I'd love that. That would be good. I'm
That's
good.
like one of the few remaining dream matches I actually
And
have.
on top of that, now who do you book to win the Royal Rumble now? I mean, you have so many options. Like, I don't even know where to go with it.
I still think they're going to go with Cody, because he's got to finish the story.
Yeah, I'm okay
He
with
can
that.
do that without winning the Rumble.
Exactly. But
I
then,
think
don't know,
Cody.
there's so many.
I think Cody doesn't win to extend the story until Elimination Chamber,
That, yeah,
and
like
that
that.
puts
Perfect.
him.
That's
I
perfect.
like that.
Yeah.
I definitely think I like that better. Strive.
Because honestly, I don't want it to happen, but I honestly could see them triple threading Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that too.
Time out though. What are these rumors about CM Punk and Stone Cold? Have you guys heard that?
Yes,
Yes!
yes.
That is about as random as I've heard.
But because of the watch 2K14 promo that they did with Jim Ross when they said
Yes.
"What if?"
Oh my God! Yeah.
Right?
Jeez.
Right?
Yeah.
And Stone Cold. And
This is-
Stone Cold
this is how
actually
far
wrestling
wrestled
fans are
Kevin
pulling it out
Owens
of there.
a couple years
Yeah.
ago, so.
That's crazy.
Match.
They're that like y'all really?
Look, I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it.
Yes,
But
yes, yes.
I don't.
But
see
I don't
it.
want that to be one of his first matches back.
Right.
Like,
Right. Yeah.
For real.
We got to get him going. But
yeah.
So speaking of CM Punk, Strava, I haven't heard your take on his return or Tim. So Strava, we'll
Yeah.
start with you. What did you think of CM Punk's return?
Okay, so y'all don't know I work at an after hours private club. So I work from 9 to 4 a.m. And when that happened, I didn't see it. I started getting messages.
oh God.
Oh.
Oh, great.
Oh, that's so
Shut your phone
sad.
off.
And I
Yeah.
almost threw my phone. And I ran up to the one security guard that does security with me, and I was like, "Yo, why you ain't tell me?" He was like, "Oh, yeah, bro, CM Punk back." I almost hit him in his chest. I ran. I started watching the YouTube clips. I started freaking out. They're like, "What is wrong with you? You don't get it." I'm like, "Look," I started showing them. I'm like, "You don't get it. It's literally tattooed on me. Then, now, and forever. It's not like this is not a game. I love this." Like, and they were like, "We see you love it, I guess." this checkmate. That's what as soon as it happened, when this camera was panning out and it checkmate. We win. If it's a game like that, we win. You really poke the bear, which is Triple H, and Triple H don't like being poked.
Yeah.
That he was like, this ain't Vince's company no more. The old head ain't run. I got this. I bet I'm gonna do business. And I don't think they like each other still to this day.
Clearly.
Oh, you can tell they don't.
It's contempt.
From the picture. It was condescending as hell, but like here, with Punk just like, that was this is business. We here to make money.
Yeah.
Well, and that smile that Triple H had on, he was like, "Yeah, I'm a different person. He's a different person, but we're gonna do one. We're gonna do business."
In all honesty, I actually thought there would have been a better chance of Punk coming back under Vince than Triple H, because I know Punk and Vince did have a good relationship. Obviously, it didn't end well. You get fired on your wedding day, but I thought it was weird because I was like talking to my brother about it the night before it happened, and I was just saying like, he's never coming back. He's never coming back. But then when he came back, I wasn't shocked. I don't know. It was weird. It was just like, because it just made sense.
Right.
Especially Survivor Series, Chicago. You could tell it happened fast because they had already had all the Orton stuff ready to go, and then they just throw the CM Punk thing on top of it.
Yeah.
Super cool. I mean, the moment was wild. Place went bananas. I thought it was the right thing to do. I'm just again, I don't know where you go from here. This is a lot of work to do.
The good thing is nobody was overshadowed in the War Games match. Everybody had their moment, and how they did everything with Orton. I think it was really well done. I said last week I'm a bit indifferent, but we'll see. I mean, he said he's here to make money, not friends, and that's the way you should be in life. That is. So I mean, okay, let's go.
Question: who do y'all think his first feud is going to be, though?
Seth.
Do you? Straight to Seth?
Just from his reaction.
And there's history. There's history there.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I mean, they seem to be hinting at there's some animosity. I don't believe it. I think they're working, which is what a shock,
And honestly, too, it could be Drew McIntyre because I mean he was mouthing off Monday, taking shots at Punk. So,
which is why I kind of feel like the triple threat is going to happen.
Yeah,
that's literally the only reason why. Because when Drew said that, I'm like, "Well, wait, Drew, you left too when things weren't going." Wait, well, he did.
He
get
did
fired.
the exact same thing. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, he got
so I'm like, yo, how do you say that? But well, it's gonna fit the storyline now. That makes hella sense. Like, I like it.
Yeah, I could see Seth. I'd be good with that. I don't know if they want to give him something quick to do, get him a quick win over somebody else before. I don't know, maybe. But
y'all are the perfect people to ask this question. Go ahead. Go on. I'm sorry.
Punk and Seth is a perfect feud. I mean, I think that's fire in the ring. I mean, Rollins is good. I mean, Rollins could make. I haven't wrestled in 20 years, and Rollins could probably make me look good these days. I'm down for that. I wouldn't even be against switching the title to Punk at Royal Rumble, have him go into WrestleMania as the champion. I'm okay with that too. So again, there's a million options here. Like, I don't know what to do. It's exciting.
That's why it's like literally my favorite time of year, because you got Royal Rumble coming up, then you got WrestleMania coming up, and there's so many different things that they can do. Like,
Okada's coming.
Do you think so?
They keep saying chaos too much.
Have they really? I haven't noticed that.
Too much. Every time we get to the Cody and Nakamura segment, right after this week, watch it back. This week, right after Wade Barrett and Michael Cole are on, and they keep saying chaos. They said it 3 times back to back.
They're bringing it. They're going to bring in another main eventer.
But it's smart because they want that working relationship with New Japan, and that's how they get it with their John Cena. So, why not?
And let's be honest, he is, and he's what in his his mid-30s. Okada,
yes,
Okada,
he can still go. He can still absolutely go, and he looks like $1 million.
Oh yeah,
he's-
Okada's money. I mean,
Yeah,
Rainmaker.
yeah,
Hello.
yeah, that works. Yeah,
We have 10 more years of this. That's why it's so great. Like they're so young and so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't think
happy.
he needs to go to AEW.
No.
You know what's so funny though is I feel like kind of like when you guys were mentioning how like WWE wasn't developing new stars for a long time. We were talking about that a year ago, maybe
Yeah.
18 months ago. We were talking about that,
Mhm.
and I used to kind of like I was at the point maybe like a year or two ago where I was kind of like I don't know if I want to keep going on with this. Like I was starting to fall out as a fan. And suddenly it's like a 180. Like there is
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
to be excited for now.
A crazy resurgence. Yep.
So much. I mean, this could turn everything around. Like this could be like
This
I
is
remember
why
like
we love it.
I remember like when I was young coming home, like I'm like I gotta get my homework done because wrestling's on tonight. Like I mean that was everything to me. And I'm like I'm almost if they do this right, we can almost get back to that.
It wasn't even long. Y'all remember how disappointed we were after Mania?
Yeah.
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 Like night one of Mania, we were like, oh, riding high. Okay, it's kind of good.
Yeah.
Night
Tag
two
match,
was
yeah.
like, wait, everything we fought for, we just lost it. And
I know. That was
and
hard.
Triple H brought us back. I am so grateful for Mr. Paul Levesque. Even if I hope he's watching. Thank you, sir.
Took some time.
Fire
but
us.
it's
We
there.
love wrestling.
Yes. Yes.
Hey guys, I know we're probably up against it. I don't know how you guys normally run, but you were mentioning the main eventers and the guys. But you have to think about how many of the girls now are actually. I mean, between Rhea, Charlotte, Bianca, Asuka, that whole feud.
Yeah.
Between like Becky, they're loaded on the girls division too.
I see Bailey winning the Royal Rumble.
I hope so.
I love it.
I miss Bailey. I just miss her work. She's probably, I mean, outside of Charlotte, I'd say she's probably just one of the best pure workers in the company.
Yeah.
And man, I miss her being on top. Like she was really, really one of the better champions. Remember that feud with her and Sasha in NXT? Those first couple of, oh my God. I go back and watch those on occasion, but so loaded this roster.
Take over Brooklyn. I cry every time because
literally, because it was magical.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was when Sasha was working her arm. Remember, she slammed it off the stairs like that. Oh my God, that match was outrageous.
When she went out and grabbed the little girl headband and oh man, everything about it, like that's what I love. Storytelling. Tell a story.
Yeah.
Like to be able to tell a story in a War Games match is crazy, and they did it in both of them this year. The women's match where they built up, will Charlotte and Bailey be able to do this? And then at the end, that hug, like
And long-term storytelling is okay when you do it right. We'll remember. Trust me, we will remember. It doesn't have to be week to week. You can stretch stuff out. We're not going to forget that stuff, the important stuff at least.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the women's War Games. You know, a lot of people were kind of dogging on it a little bit. You know, oh, the baby faces had the advantage, and that's boring. And I'm like, but they were telling a story with that. It was more about Bailey and her getting her team together, and can she get the troops to rally around her more than it was about the baby faces.
Yeah.
So I think she's gonna win the Royal Rumble, and it'll be her against Io Sky for the title at WrestleMania.
I will pop so big for that for Bailey. God, I love her.
that
with the win. Bailey with the win. She has the win.
And I would like to see her do the hugger thing just one more time. One more time.
I think Bailey going over at WrestleMania would be a huge moment. I think that would get a massive, massive pop.
Because she's really the only one out of those four women that really haven't had that WrestleMania moment yet. So
and that's why it's coming. Right. I believe it's you. Literally just wrote that. You wrote it, and I believe that's what's going to happen.
That's so true.
I really do because she's the only one that hasn't had a WrestleMania moment yet. She's put in the time. Pandemic. Who was the MVP of the pandemic era?
Oh yeah.
Bailey.
So it's her time.
Yeah.
And they could play into that. This happened in NXT too, because they held her back when they brought the other three up.
Yep.
They held her back and kept her in NXT.
Yep.
And she was kind of late to the game a little bit. So they could bring all of that back to everybody's mind and be like, well, yeah, you know, Bailey, you haven't had your WrestleMania moment, but I have. I main evented and I did this, and the other two did this, and you're just, you were just a spot filler, kind of like that. So
they kind of played on that too when she finally made it to the main roster at first. How she was held back in NXT. They could still definitely go with that for sure because always they could always be like, well, she's always behind or like, oh.
Bailey's face turn is coming.
No, because you're also when they teased it with the hug from Damage Control.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I don't do that anymore. She's definitely going to turn face and be the hugger again.
I hope so.
For sure.
And it's going to be magical when it happens.
Yeah. And then after WrestleMania, bring Sasha back.
It's coming. It's coming.
You have a ready-made feud.
It's happening. That's going to happen.
I got another one. Imagine this is getting out of control.
Yeah.
It's about time Santos Escobar is healed, hopefully soon he can become world champion. Oh yeah. That'll happen one day. Santos Escobar's got it all too.
Yeah, he definitely does.
He
definitely does.
You know something about him? I was not a believer in him when he was in NXT. I didn't get it. And I for a while at the main roster, I didn't get it either. I know he just turned heel. There's something about him as a heel. Like I believe it. I believe it. He looks legitimately pissed off and hurt.
Yeah.
He's living it. And like I said, we talk about it. When you make people believe, like he finally has. And of course, he looks good, cuts a promo. His in-ring work is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I was looking forward to him versus Carlito, and then they ended up going Dragon Lee. But
it makes more sense that they changed it to Dragon Lee.
I agree.
Because
I like
Carlito doesn't need to lose, but Santos Escobar doesn't need to lose either. So I thought that was perfect.
Yeah. So that's no Escobar. I think Escobar is going to be one of those slow burn kind of guys. I don't think it's going to be soon that he'll be champion.
Right.
But I would say within.
Oh yeah, he's young. He got some years ahead of him.
Oh
he
yeah.
Stays healthy.
Oh, yeah.
Christine says there's so many new women that have come up. Do you think that Bailey has burnt too many bridges, has stepped on too many toes? She's done a lot of damage. Never say never. Time heals wounds. Not all, but a lot of wounds.
But then it's really cool that in the WWE, the wrestlers have memories now. And when someone had done something ugly to them in the past, they don't forget it.
Right.
Like with Drew McIntyre, with Jey Uso, and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it's great to see.
Those are human emotions. Like when we don't forget shit like that. Sorry, stuff like that in our real life. Okay. We don't forget that stuff. So why shouldn't they? They're
for real.
It's being a normal human being.
The long-term storytelling that they say we lack in WWE, right? The Cody and Nakamura thing, it doesn't make sense. Nakamura was doing the GTS. He had to be talking about CM Punk. Okay. Cody has a father who was misted back in the day by who? The Great Muta. Who was whose mentor? Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah. What was Shinsuke's first thing he did to Cody? He hit him with the mist. What did Cody say? Yeah. Oh, I remember being hit with the mist when I was on the side when my dad was in the match with. Oh, so what else do they have in common? They both won the Royal Rumble and both lost at WrestleMania. Oh, so it does.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's just you have to pay attention.
Yeah, they were both in Japan at the same time too. At one point.
Bingo. It's like it all writes itself.
Full circle. I mean, if this was all part of the plan for a while from Triple H, it's pretty genius. I'm assuming maybe it all kind of came together for him. If not, God, that's keeping those stories in your head and playing them out in this manner at this time of year. Oh boy.
I learned this from Paul Heyman a long time ago. I was watching him on YouTube, and he said the easiest way to write a perfect wrestling storyline is to start with the finish.
Yeah.
And then you build up to it.
Work backwards.
That makes sense.
I'm like, that's actually genius. This is what we're going to do, and this is how we get to that.
Well,
it's like, this is our goal.
Right?
How are we going to make that happen?
That's what Vince used to do, though. At the end of WrestleMania, he would say, okay, next year's WrestleMania, I want this to be the main event. And then they work backwards from there. That's how they used to do it. And then they stopped that. I mean, originally after WrestleMania 13, after Brett and Austin, which is my favorite wrestling match in the history of wrestling, WrestleMania 14 main event was supposed to be their rematch. But then, Brett ended up signing with WCW. They went with Michaels. But that was the original idea. The day after WrestleMania 13, he was like, I want Brett and Austin rematch with Austin going over in 14.
With the title,
That's how and then from there, start writing the story, but write backwards. And then we'll work it. And then obviously you're gonna have to, throw some audibles in there.
That's genius.
But they stopped doing that. And then they're just like, no, we're just gonna book this week by week, I guess. And it just got really repetitive. So hopefully they're getting away from that.
Well, that's in just writing in general, because I write a bunch of stuff. I wrote a novel when I was 19, and that's what they teach you is they tell you to start with an idea and how you want the book to end, and then you branch out from that. How do you want your story to be? So that's just smart writing to do it that way, because otherwise you're just going to have a bunch of jumbled mess.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we have gone for almost an hour and a half.
Oh my
and
God!
I really need to go.
No, yeah. I can take my dog.
That's my fault. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
This
was a lot of fun.
Rob, check your message when we get off here. We'll set up something with you soon too.
Perfect.
But yeah, I'm glad you came on. And Tim, it's always good to have you on. Good to chat with you for a little bit, as
Appreciate
always.
You having me. Yeah.
Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
We forgot to introduce that at the beginning. I do. I host a weekly movie podcast called The Movie Council. You can find that on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Movie Council. All of them are some Movie Council pod at whatever that particular social media is. So listen in if you like movies.
That's really cool. My husband and I have really gotten into the Christmas movies from the 1940s, and we have discovered some real gems. So
yeah, going way back.
Nice.
Some good ones.
All right, Strav, where can everyone find you?
Scrappy Stones 143, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Without the 143 is Scrappy with the I, STRAVISTONES 143. Because we spread love. I love you. So that's what the 143 stands for. Subscribe to the YouTube. Ringside with Strav is my wrestling show. Renaissance Man is my overall podcast. I talk about everything from relationships to just everyday life stuff, parenting, whatever. So, give me a subscription, follow, all of that good stuff.
Hell yeah.
And once again, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on Peaches and Power Bombs. Tell your friends about us. We're two Southern girls who love wrestling and like to talk about wrestling. Invite our friends on here too, and we just have a good time. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all the things to Peaches and Power Bombs. And guys, we are out. See you later. Good night, sweet peach. It's time to go. Good night.